My husband's family voted to keep me out of their vacation. He said, "Don't take it personal. It's their tradition." I stayed behind until I found the ticket they bought for his ex. What I did with that boarding pass ended more than the trip. I met Travis in Jacksonville, Florida. I was 28, working as a dental assistant, and he was 31, a mortgage loan officer. He came in for a routine cleaning and left with my number. He was charming, always well-dressed, and knew how to say the right things. 6 months in, I was falling for him hard. A year later, we were married in a small backyard wedding at my aunt's house in Neptune Beach. I knew early on his family was close-knit. Tight was the word Travis always used. Sunday dinners, group chats, birthday marathons that lasted a week, family camping trips. I tried my best to be included. I brought dishes to dinners, remembered birthdays, even learned how to play cornhole because they loved it so much. But I was always just a little outside the circle. They didn't say much to me directly, just little things. Inside jokes I wasn't part of, family stories they'd repeat without explaining, and subtle looks exchanged when I said something they didn't like. At first, I thought it was just growing pains. Maybe they just needed more time to warm up to me. I was wrong. It started with Thanksgiving the second year we were married. Travis's mom, Darlene, told me they were keeping it small that year. Just siblings and spouses. Okay. Hurtful, but I let it go. Travis went without me. Said it was just easier not to fight it. I spent Thanksgiving with my cousin and didn't make a big deal about it. But then it became a pattern. Christmas brunch, skipped. Family reunion, skipped. They had an excuse every time. Budget is tight. We want to reconnect as siblings. You wouldn't enjoy it anyway. Travis would always say, "Don't take it personal, babe. They're just used to doing things a certain way." So I kept my mouth shut. I didn't want to be the nagging wife. But then came the annual family vacation to Breckenridge. A week in a massive cabin they'd rented every February for the past 12 years. Skiing, hot tubs, bonfires. I'd never been invited, not once. This year they did a vote. A vote. Travis told me about it like it was normal. They talked and voted to keep it siblings only again. Don't take it personal. It's their tradition. Siblings only my ass. Travis's younger brother brought his wife the year before. His sister brought her fiancé. I asked him point blank, "Why do they exclude me?" He shrugged. "I don't know. They just have a system." I swallowed the lump in my throat and told myself it didn't matter. I wasn't going to beg to be accepted by people who didn't want me. He left for the trip on a Saturday, gave me a quick hug goodbye, like he was heading to the grocery store, not flying across the country for a week of fun with the people who clearly hated me. I stayed home, cleaned the house, went through his side of the closet to reorganize. That's when I found the envelope. It was a small white envelope tucked behind a pair of cargo shorts he hadn't worn in years. Inside was a boarding pass, round-trip flight from JX to Denver. But it wasn't in his name. It was in Michelle Crane's, his ex-girlfriend, the one he dated for 4 years before me, the one his mom never stopped talking about. Michelle used to make the best deviled eggs. Michelle came with us to the mountains once. Such a trooper. Michelle never minded sleeping on the pull-out couch. I stared at the ticket for 5 solid minutes before I could breathe again. The departure date matched his. The return date matched his. I sat down on the carpet and everything just stopped. I texted my cousin Tiffany and told her I needed her help. Tiffany was always the ride or die type. Grew up on the tough side of Jacksonville and didn't play games. She showed up in 20 minutes. "What are we doing?" she asked. "Getting my revenge," I said. And I meant it. The first thing I did was call American Airlines. I pretended to be Michelle and asked if I could confirm the booking. They read it back to me. "Yep, round trip. Seat next to Travis. Checked bags confirmed. No companion traveler info. Travis must have booked them separately." I asked about ID requirements. Just a valid driver's license, nothing more. Tiffany and I went into full-blown operation mode. She worked as a hairstylist and still had her old wig collection. I picked a chestnut brown shoulder-length one that looked almost like the style Michelle used to wear in old Facebook photos. Then we got to work on the outfit. Leggings, a ski lodge sweatshirt, UGGs. I already looked a little like her. Same height, same build, same pale skin and dark eyes. Add in the wig, and no one would know, unless they were up close. We headed to the airport at 5 a.m. the next morning. The flight was at 7:45. I walked up to the counter and checked in. "Michelle Crane," I said. My heart was pounding. No issues. I got the boarding pass and made it through TSA without a hitch. I boarded early, picked the window seat, watched as people came in one by one. Then I saw him, Travis. He stopped in the aisle like someone had punched him in the gut. His eyes locked onto me, then flicked up to the seat number again, like maybe he was hallucinating. "Michelle," he said, barely above a whisper. I didn't say a word, just stared at him. "What the hell are you doing here?" he finally asked, keeping his voice low. "I think the better question is," I said quietly, "what the hell are you doing here with her?" He tried to say something, but the flight attendant asked him to move along so others could board. He slid into the middle seat next to me, clearly panicking. "You're insane," he hissed. "Tell me why you booked a flight for her," I said, still calm. "Tell me why your family excluded me, but not your ex." He looked around, then leaned in. "It's not what you think." "Really? Because it looks like you were flying halfway across the country to shack up with your ex while your wife stayed home like an idiot." He ran his hand through his hair, started whisper yelling. "She's friends with my sister. It's not a big deal. It was just what? Tradition." He didn't answer. I stood up, grabbed my carry-on. "I'm not staying for the flight," I said loud enough for the whole row to hear. "I just wanted you to know I found the ticket before your little girlfriend got the chance to use it." Then I walked off the plane, but I wasn't done. When I got home, I did the one thing his family hated the most. I went public. I posted on Facebook. Not vague, not subtle, just the truth. "To Travis, my husband of 3 years, I hope you and Michelle enjoy your sibling-only ski trip. I found her boarding pass in your closet. Hope your mom packed extra blankets for the couch you'll be sleeping on when you get back." Then I tagged every single member of his family, and every photo I had with him, our wedding, date nights, anniversary dinners, I replaced the captions with a timeline of lies. People noticed. My phone exploded. His mom messaged me. "This was unnecessary and childish," I replied. So was inviting his ex instead of his wife. Tiffany and I spent the week drinking wine, laughing and reading the comments. When Travis came back, I wasn't there. I was at my cousin's, and I had already filed for a legal separation. He begged. He pleaded. He cried. But it was too late. The vacation was over. And so was the marriage. When I filed for separation, I thought I was doing the smart thing, keeping myself calm, handling it like an adult. But what I didn't expect was the full weight of Travis's family pushing back at me like a damn freight train. It started with letters. I'm not kidding. Handwritten letters from his mom, his sister Amanda, and even his Uncle Ray. Each one had the same passive-aggressive tone. "We're sad it came to this. Marriage takes patience. You embarrassed him and us. And the worst one. You should have talked to us first before going public." Talk to them? These people wouldn't even let me sit at the same Thanksgiving table. Then came the texts. Dozens of them. Some from numbers I didn't even recognize. Travis must have told his whole family everything, or at least his own twisted version. One message from Amanda read, "Michelle was invited because she's basically family. You never tried to fit in. You were always judging us." That was the moment it really sank in. They weren't just defending Travis. They had always hated me, and now they had an excuse to unload all of it. So I changed my number. I thought that would be the end of it. Let them all scream into the void. But 3 days later, I got a call from my manager at work. My job was at a small dental clinic in Riverside, and we had lots of families as clients. He sat me down and said, "Did you post something online about your husband and his family?" I nodded, confused. He looked uncomfortable. "We got 3 different complaints this morning from people claiming your post was inappropriate and that it made them feel uncomfortable using our services." I was stunned. "Wait, you're kidding." He wasn't. And I knew exactly who it was. Darlene. She had a friend who used our clinic. She must have spread the story. I didn't get fired, but I got pulled off the front desk and moved into a back office role for a while. It was humiliating, but even that wasn't the worst of it. The worst part came when I ran into Michelle. It was a Wednesday afternoon, and I was at Publix grabbing a rotisserie chicken and some mac and cheese, just trying to get through the week like a normal person. I turned the corner, and there she was. Hair perfectly done, makeup flawless, wearing a little white sundress like she was heading to a picnic. She saw me, smiled like it was a high school reunion. "Hey," she said like we were friends. I froze. I didn't even know what to say. "You really lit a fire, huh?" she said, tilting her head. "You always were the jealous type." I clenched my jaw. "You're still sleeping with him?" She laughed. "Not anymore. That mess on the plane. Yeah, I wasn't exactly thrilled. He told me you were cool with it. Said it was just a formality until the divorce. But after that stunt..." She raised her eyebrows. "Girl, I deleted his number." She reached into her purse and pulled out a small silver necklace. Held it up. This was his. "Gave it to me in Breckenridge. You want it back?" I stared at it. "No," I said. "Keep it. You two deserve each other." I walked away shaking, heart pounding, but in a strange way. That moment gave me clarity. Travis was never going to change. Michelle wasn't the first, and probably wouldn't be the last. And his family, they were cult-level toxic. I went home that night and started packing. Then I did something I never thought I'd do. I called his boss. See, Travis worked at a mortgage firm. He bragged about how he made the company with his sales numbers. But what he didn't know was that I still had access to our shared desktop, and the company's client files were saved in a synced folder. And right there, plain as day, were 2 PDFs labeled "Client receipt" and scanned it off. He tried to expense the Breckenridge vacation under a client's name. I downloaded both files, saved them to a thumb drive, and sent them, with no return address, to the company's regional compliance manager. Included a little note that said, "These receipts were submitted as part of a recent vacation. The names on the itinerary don't match the client files. Just thought you should know." 3 days later, Travis called me in a panic. "You told my job," he yelled. "What the hell is wrong with you?" "You told your job it was a business trip," I said, "while flying your ex-girlfriend out for a family vacation. You really thought nobody would notice." He cursed me out. I hung up. 2 weeks later, he was let go due to restructuring. That's what he told his mom, anyway. I knew the truth. And now he was jobless. His family hated me more than ever, and I was just getting started. After Travis lost his job, he moved back into his parents' house. I only knew because Tiffany's friend Lisa worked at the Winn-Dixie near their neighborhood and saw him coming in every few days, wearing the same hoodie, buying cheap beer and frozen dinners. Part of me felt a little satisfaction. He used to talk like he was untouchable, like money just followed him. Now he was back in his childhood bedroom with no income, no wife, no respect, and no backup plan. But I wasn't done hurting. Because I wasn't just angry at Travis, I was angry at myself. For believing him. For giving up my voice for years just to keep the peace, with people who never even gave me a chance. The anger was hot, cold. It came in waves. One night I went digging. I still had access to our shared cloud storage. He forgot to lock me out. Dumb move. That was where I found everything. Photos from past trips, screenshots of messages, and something else. A folder labeled Michelle and Huldi. Inside were hundreds of old photos and videos of them, him, and her. Some dated during our engagement. A few even after we got married. One video stopped me cold. It was a clip from inside our old house. Michelle was standing in our living room, in my bathrobe, holding a mug that I recognized. She was laughing and looking off camera. Then Travis's voice said, "This is better than Sunday brunch. Just you and me." I was shaking. They were sleeping together in my house, in my clothes. That video was dated 11 months into our marriage. He'd been cheating the whole time. So I called a lawyer. I didn't have much money, but I'd saved a few thousand. We sat down and went through every detail. The cheating, the exclusion, the lies, the receipts. "You've got more than grounds for divorce," she said. "You've got a potential civil case for fraud if he used shared assets on that trip." So we started building. I pulled every receipt I could find, every screenshot. I created a timeline, one that showed how he used joint accounts for hotels, flights, and dinners he claimed were family costs, but were actually for him and Michelle. The lawyer sent him a letter. We were going for full divorce with financial damages. That's when Travis really snapped. He showed up outside my cousin's house, where I'd been staying since I left him. Tiffany saw him first. She came to my room and said, "Don't open the door. He's outside." I peeked out the blinds. There he was, standing on the sidewalk in the rain, yelling up at the house like a teenager who just got dumped at prom. "Come talk to me, Sam. I deserve a chance to fix this." Tiffany opened the front door just long enough to throw a shoe at him and yell, "Get off our block, deadbeat." He left after about 10 minutes, still shouting, still calling me by name. But a few hours later, my aunt called. Apparently Travis had gone to her house too, told her I was mentally unstable, and making things up to ruin his life. That's when I knew what this really was. This wasn't just about a vacation or even the cheating. This was about control. He couldn't stand that I had flipped the power, that I had exposed him, and now he was playing dirty. He started spreading rumors. Word got around at the clinic that I was going through something, that I had anger problems, and even that I'd lied about being cheated on. One of the receptionists, who went to high school with Amanda, his sister, stopped talking to me altogether. Just cold-shouldered me every shift. Then my hours got cut. No explanation. Just, "We don't have enough patients to keep you full-time right now." It felt like my whole life was sliding backwards. He was falling apart and trying to drag me with him. So I got ahead of it. I booked a therapy appointment. Then I made a post. Not for drama, just for truth. I said, "Hi friends. Some of you may have heard rumors about my divorce. The truth is hard, but here it is. My husband cheated. His family helped cover it up. I found receipts, proof, and I'm taking steps to move on. If you're dealing with something similar, I'm here. And I'm healing." It went semi-viral. Not thousands of shares, but enough that people took notice. A few women messaged me privately. One said, "He flirted with me at the gym while wearing his wedding ring." Another said, "I saw him and that Michelle girl at Topgolf one night. Thought it was weird." The more I heard, the more I realized how deep it went. But the real twist came 3 weeks later, when I got an anonymous envelope in the mail. Inside was a USB stick and a note that said, "You deserve to know." Signed, someone who saw too much. I plugged it into my laptop, half scared, half sick. There were 6 video files, all taken during the Breckenridge trip. Travis and Michelle, drunk, laughing, loud music. One video had Michelle mocking me by name. Another showed Travis pouring shots and saying, "To finally being with someone who fits into this family." The last video, him bragging, saying, "Sam doesn't matter. She's just a phase. She was never one of us. Michelle is the real deal." That was the last nail in the coffin. I sent the USB to my lawyer. Then I made copies. One for his boss at the mortgage firm, just in case he ever tried to sue for wrongful termination. One for his mother. And one I uploaded to a private YouTube link, shared only with a few trusted people in town. So if he ever came at me again, I'd hit public in a heartbeat. The divorce court hearing was set for a Monday morning in late spring. Travis showed up wearing a wrinkled blazer, looking like he hadn't slept in days. His eyes were bloodshot, his hair was too long, and his hands were shaking. I wore a plain black dress and kept my head down. I didn't need to speak much. The evidence did the talking. My lawyer laid out everything: his misuse of joint funds, the infidelity, the exclusion, the emotional abuse. She even showed a short clip from the Breckenridge video, just the part where he said I was just a phase. Travis's lawyer didn't have much of a defense. He stuttered through a few weak points. There's no proof the funds were intended for Michelle. The video may have been taken out of context, but it was over before it even started. The judge awarded me full spousal support for 2 years, gave me the bulk of our shared savings, and added a clause about no further harassment from him or his family. As we stood to leave, Travis reached for my arm. "Sam," he said, voice cracking, "you don't have to burn me down like this." I looked him in the eye and said, "You lit the match. I just made sure the fire caught." He looked stunned, like it had never occurred to him that I could be this cold, this finished. But it wasn't even about revenge anymore. It was about closure. When I walked out of that courthouse, I felt something I hadn't felt in years: free. But the fallout for Travis was just beginning. Turns out, word about the ski trip videos got around. Someone, still not sure who, leaked clips to his old company. Not the manager I contacted, not HR, someone higher. I got a call from Lisa, Tiffany's friend again. She said one of the regional directors saw the clip and made sure his name was blacklisted from every mortgage firm in northern Florida. The man couldn't get hired in fast food if he wanted to. Then came his family. His sister Amanda and his younger brother got into a huge blowout argument. Apparently Amanda had been the one to push the whole invite Michelle plan, but she kept Travis's wife, me, out of the loop. The brother's wife, Mandy, called her out during a family dinner. "You threw Sam out like trash. She never did anything but try to fit in." Amanda snapped back. They didn't speak for weeks. Travis's mom, Darlene, tried to hold everyone together like she always did, but it crumbled. I heard from an old friend who lived 2 doors down from them that Darlene had been crying on her porch one night, saying, "This family is falling apart." Yeah, I bet it was. Travis tried to save face on social media. Started posting gym selfies, motivational quotes, even tagged one with, "What doesn't kill you makes you stronger." I left a comment, "You sure about that?" It got 174 likes before he deleted it. But here's where the final nail went in Michelle. She didn't just dump him, she blasted him. A few weeks after court, Michelle posted a video on Instagram. Full face, no filters, just her sitting in her car, looking dead into the camera. Let me set the record straight. Travis is not a victim. He lied to me, he lied to his wife, and he used both of us. I stayed quiet because I didn't want drama, but I'm done being quiet. He told me Sam was separated, that she was cold, controlling. None of it was true. I saw the receipts. I saw the video. I was there. And I regret ever stepping foot on that plane. The video blew up. Hundreds of comments. People from their old high school chimed in. A few from his former coworkers. He disappeared after that. Deleted all his social media. Blocked me, even though I hadn't messaged him. Probably moved out of his parents' house, too, because one day I drove by Don't Judge Me and saw a U-Haul and a for sale sign out front. Word was he moved to Tampa. Nobody knew for sure. I went back to therapy. Stayed with it. My hours at the clinic went back up once the noise died down. I got a new apartment, painted every wall light blue, and started fresh. The hardest part was rebuilding my confidence. I spent so long trying to fit into a mold that never accepted me. Now, I spend my days figuring out who I am without him. I take walks every night, go to yoga twice a week, and started a side hustle, making handmade journals on Etsy. It's small, but it's mine. Tiffany and I still talk almost every day. She says she's proud of me. "You didn't just get revenge," she said. "You reclaimed your damn life." She's right. Because revenge wasn't just about hurting him, it was about finally hearing my own voice and making sure no one ever silences it again.